Hello and welcome to Only Stupid Answers, your one-stop shop for all the DC Universe reviews you'd ever want in your entire life. My name is Sam Basher.
I'm DJ Woldridge.
And today we're talking about the very first episode, the premiere, the pilot, for Harley Quinn, the new animated series coming to DC Universe. First episode, let's kick it off. Till Death Do Us Part. In the series premiere, Harley Quinn, played by Kayley Cuoco, has finally broken things off once and for all with Joker and attempts to make it out on her own as the criminal Queenpin of Gotham City in a half-hour adult animated. Now I'm reading the rest of the synopsis of the entire show. You get the gist. So, just quickie thoughts.
Yes.
I actually don't know what you think of this show. I can't shut up about it because I keep talking about it just the entire morning. What do you think?
You watched the whole series in an afternoon.
I'll be honest, I'm halfway through a second rewatch because
Nice.
I like it so much. Really cool. DC Universe gave us all 13 episodes of the show in one go. So if we happen to be wearing the same things in multiple reviews, that's why.
I like it a lot. I think it's really funny. I think it's a cool addition to the DC Universe app. I think it reminds me a lot of what I presumed the Deadpool animated series was supposed to be.
I get the same vibe.
Yeah. And I think what they're Marvel's shooting for with those animated Hulu shows that now have like a high bar to compete against. I think the first episode in particular kind of leans maybe too hard and like, hey, this is for grown-ups. Here's a lot of violence and cursing. And it's like to a point where it reminds me a little bit of the first season of Titans where it's like, we're for the grown-ups. You know what I mean?
Well, there was based on the time we're recording this, we just did a review for an episode of Titans where Hawk is adamant that we don't kill. We never kill. Titans never kill. It's like, I have visual evidence that is a lie, sir. Beating up that 16-year-old kid.
Anyway, that's a different show
Timelines
that I also enjoy. But I think the other cool thing about giving Harley Quinn her own platform is that like she's a lot like Wade Wilson in that she's comedy based, similar color scheme, but wasn't meant to be like a standalone character and now is. But the interesting thing with Harley Quinn is that just by her very nature of her standing out on her own, you get to tell stories that are important and do matter about people getting out of toxic relationships, which I think is something really unique and special about Harley Quinn and makes me really happy about that particular character getting her own platform as opposed to just like, another like, oh, this character's popular, so let's give him a spinoff. Sure, fine. Like this one has a little bit more weight to it just by the nature of the character.
I totally agree. Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed this first episode. The violence at points were like, does it match with the comedy thing that they're doing? And over time, I'm like, yeah, I get it. That's how this show works. Like, there's sometimes full episodes where there's like no violence, as far as I can remember. Or if it's used as like the butt end of a joke, and that always gets me. I laughed out loud at this show constantly. I think it might be one of my favorite comedies to come out this year. I think a lot of the comedies I've watched this year are a mix of that with a heavy drama attached to it, like your Righteous Gemstones or Barry's more serious, but it is nestled into like a comedic root kind of. Righteous Gemstones, there's a whole mystery that you have to deal with in that show, so that's what you're mainly thinking about. In this show, it's literally just someone trying to improve themselves and identify who they are in this world of Gotham baddies and the Legion of Doom and everything. And it's serious. You nailed it when you said that it's about someone trying to break away from this toxic relationship.
Yeah, specifically this episode.
And it's such a good premise for a villain because you get to actually have a villain story that just like makes sense. And I love the way that they start to kind of flesh out the world where it's like the Legion of Doom does exist. All of Batman's villains are here because who cares? Like everyone can be here. Batman can be the fullest side character you could possibly imagine in the background. And you get to see the personalities of the villains instead of just their plots that they have to push forward. It's like, no, they're not trying to melt Gotham or whatever they're trying to do. It's like, in this they're talking about Costco cards.
Yeah, they lead lives but their job is being a supervillain.
And I think Kayley Cuoco does a really good job as Harley Quinn, where it kind of toes the line of like sometimes you get like the Mr. J, aging 60-year-old smoker from Yonkers. You get you actually get some like. It's dynamic, and I appreciate that. Also, Lake Bell as Poison Ivy. Didn't know I needed it, but I'm a big fan of that take on Poison Ivy.
I'm interested, and we'll get into more of this in later episodes, how they explore because in the first few episodes, it's very much Poison Ivy is like her lady pal. You know what I mean? But their relationship in the comics is more complicated than that. And they hint to it in this episode, like Poison Ivy says, like, my feelings for you are complicated. It's either this or the second episode. Sorry. And so
they said we could spoil a little bit. So that's our first gimme.
And so it'll be interesting to see as the series progresses, because I'm only in episode 4 right now. It'll be interesting to see as the show progresses how they tackle that. But no matter what, I like her because she's just not really interested in any of that. You know what I mean? She doesn't need to be the world's greatest supervillain or any of that stuff.
She seems very annoyed with the rest of the thing. It's like, no, I got my thing.
Yeah.
Everybody else has got their thing. And it's like, that lines up with what I assume Poison Ivy to be. And the last time like a larger audience saw Poison Ivy was the
Batman animated series.
Very good point. World renowned. Yeah. Batman animated. That's the 4th one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Not Forever.
No, Forever's the 3rd one.
Yeah.
Forever didn't kill it.
Yeah. Tried so hard. They tried so hard.
I still like that movie. I mean, you know what? I still like the memory I have of that movie.
Same.
Yeah.
Have you tried to rewatch? No, me neither.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
It's probably on the DC Universe app. We probably could if we wanted to.
I don't want to.
All right, fair enough.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
Same with the Bane one. Anyways, going back to Harley Quinn. I think Alan Tudyk is a real gem. We just saw Frozen 2, and we can mention that so you can figure out what the timetable of this is based on videos we've uploaded. But Alan Tudyk is just like the go-to guy now for background voices in Disney movies and whatnot.
Yeah.
Such a cool cool place to be where you're like, oh, he's the guy we call just to kind of fill out the catalog.
Yeah.
Probably Jeemer. And when you see him in this show, like when he gets to play the Joker, I'm like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's kind of just a kookier Mr. Nobody.
Yeah.
That less fourth wall breaking and talking to the audience. It's more insular, but I like besides the fact that it's a toxic relationship, it's awful, but I like the way Harley and Joker talk to each other. I think it's really funny, and you immediately fully understand what it means when the Joker and like Batman are like fully rivals, like they're two sides of the same coin, and it's like, Harley is just kind of like that. She can't fit into this dynamic. So she has to go off and create her own dynamic, which is really cool. And I'm a big fan of the Riddler design in this. And Calendar Man is super funny, where it's like, how long's Harley been here? This amount of days. It's like, well, what's your son's birthday?
And it's a good use of like lower tier villains, like go into the deeper bench, especially as we get into later episodes. We pull into some of that stuff, which I think is really funny and effective. And I think they've got it kind of feels like maybe what the goal was with Powerless, but more effective, because you can use Batman and you can use Clayface and you can use, you know what I mean? Like
there's no rules.
Yeah.
That you can use just about anybody. Like Calendar Man.
Everyone's favorite. The Calendar Man.
I mean, he's going to show up eventually in some movie or TV show or whatever. Batwoman, maybe. Probably.
Oh, yeah, probably Batwoman. Unless he's going to be in The Batman.
That could happen. They want the whole catalog of villains. And also, I think in the first episode, we get a nod to the Legion of Doom, which is pretty cool. I just like that it exists. And when we get into episode 2, I'm excited to open that up, because we get to meet so many of Batman's villains in these first couple episodes, and you make a good point when it comes to like the lower tier ones, not the ones that get their own movies or anything like that. They do a good job where the jokes don't feel like like a comedy writer just like glanced at a picture of the character and then made a joke about it. It's like, no, they're writing it in the context of how the world works, and that makes it feel more endearing.
And these people are clearly fans, and they know the characters, and they know like all that stuff.
And this is like not an adaptation of anything. It's their own interpretation of all of these characters.
Although it feels loosely inspired by Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti's run on Harley Quinn.
Good point. And which I've heard nothing but great things about. But this feels like its own thing, and I like that in this episode we get Harley struggling with breaking free from Joker, but just mentally and understanding what that means and how the relationship is bad. Sure, Poison Ivy and Riddler planning a acid bath for her probably isn't super good, but like it's just margarita mix. That's gonna sting really bad if you dunked your head in there. But It's better than acid, I guess.
Yeah.
That's by the way, one of my favorite Costco jokes, because that's exactly how I feel about it, where it's like, get a Costco membership. It's like, I only go there once a year. Yeah. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
I got to change my life around. It's well worth it. And I think, speaking of things well worth membership-wise, I think DC Universe is, because this show's so good.
Yeah.
The creators behind the show trust it so much that when they sent out the press screenings for this show, they wrote a note saying, go ahead and spoil as much as you want. And also, they noted that this is a show they'd actually watch compared to other shows that they've made. And I was like,
yeah.
I mean, that wasn't like a bad email from an employee who just got fired. It's like, no, they wrote that because they want you to understand that they really care about this show. Yeah. And the animation style, like compared to Young Justice, where it feels like what we had before on a budget. Like the slim version of that.
It's like, we got to do what you all think we're supposed to do, but also we don't have the money that we did before.
And rewatching a few episodes of Young Justice, I now finally see it. I'm like, everyone's moving all the time.
Yeah, and there's like 5 voice actors. You know what I mean? In
the new one?
In Young Justice. Yeah.
But
still really good show.
They had Rob Lowe in the first season.
Yeah, they did.
They did not get him for the second season. They got Chad Lowe, the brother. Give a shout out to Chad Lowe. Big fan.
Everybody just give a shout out to
Chad Lowe. Can we get some Chads in the chat?
How many Chad Lows would you give this first episode of Harley Quinn?
Honestly, 9 out of 10. Okay. The Joker sending his goons after Harley was at the end was like, it's a good reminder for her of like, this is the relationship you have.
Yeah.
You need to understand, like, this is what it is. He left you in prison for a whole year.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't. You are an afterthought.
An insane asylum.
And it's totally based on the upkeep. Totally different. It's worse. I love their relationship, and I love the way they introduce Batman. Oh, I'm sorry. Christopher Maloney as Jim Gordon.
Oh, it's a good take on Jim Gordon.
It is someone that's fully strung out, and apparently killing joke happened in between this and this.
Yeah,
and while she was in prison, it was like, he's upset that I paralyzed his daughter. And it's like, it's a rough. It's a pretty good joke. Those are the dope jokes I pay for.
And I think it's a good. It's probably the most accurate. Is in what Jim Gordon would probably really be like in this world, where like people are coming up with zany plots every other week.
Yeah, half of Gotham gets frozen, and he has to deal with it like a normal adult, and he can't. Yeah, well, I'd be stressing out. I'd be having a heart attack every other week.
Be freaking out too. I'd give this episode an 8.5. I really dug it.
That's totally fair, and I really hope you guys check this out. Just check out the first episode and maybe the first two. Check out the first 2 episodes, and I think
three.
Honestly, watch the show.
4's pretty winning. Yeah.
4's pretty good.
Yeah.
Honestly, the second episode, when they really dive into like the way the Legion of Doom works, little teaser, is a personal favorite from the entire season. Big fan of it. So hopefully you guys check it out. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Please like, subscribe, and make sure you check out patreon.com/onlystupidanswers for all of our extra content. We do extra shows, we do extra reviews, and you guys get it. At Sam Basher,
at TJ Talks Trash,
at Only Stupid Answers.
You got the vowels from Stu.
Bing, bang, boom. Gang, we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.